I need to go to a different place whenever I'm writing an R&B track. I essentially have to tap into my inner, passionate, sensual R&B male icon vibe, if that makes sense. And it's all about affection, and I'm a very affectionate person. Hi KLAT, this is Anwar Siziba here, and this is my Get to Know Me. I would say it has definitely enabled me to execute some of the projects that I had in the woodworks and that were just kind of chilling there, and I didn't have maybe the infrastructure to actually bring them to life. And BBC Horizons has helped me to be able to do that, especially I would say in the first couple of years. I would say, yeah, the first time, honestly, I was just grateful. I didn't even know that I could essentially, get that funding, if that makes sense. I think it enables a lot of artists to be able to do that, to be able to bring their visions to life. And again, I think once I had that exposure, all of the shows and the gigs and being a staple within Wales as an R&B male vocalist, it just blew up, if that makes sense. Yeah, so it just came through a bit more, so. So that performance I was quite young. I was around 16, and it was with my choir at church, and I had the lead role, and we did Joyful Joyful. And I also was in a stomp group as well. Have you seen Step the Yard? Yeah, Step Up. Stomp the Yard, that's it. In that movie, they basically stomp, step and clap with their bodies, and they used that in order to make rhythms, to make beats. And we did that performance, and the energy in the whole arena was honestly amazing. And I think nothing has ever really quite compared to that because of the people that I also performed with. It was a group endeavor, and we rehearsed in my house daily. Like, there are days that we wouldn't even, people would come over and sleep over the house, and we'd do our routines consistently. So that work ethic had been instilled in me from a very young age. And I think I've carried that now into my adult life as well. So yeah, I think it's the energy really, and the team cohesion. I think that's the main thing, yeah. Okay, let's start with R&B. So I need to go to a different place whenever I'm writing an R&B track. I essentially have to tap into my inner, passionate, sensual R&B male icon vibe, if that makes sense. And it's all about affection, and I'm a very affectionate person. And I can show that affection in multiple different ways, whether that's to uplift or whether that's, again, to entice. So it depends where I go, and R&B has always been a facet of my life since I was a kid, really. So I was raised in a household with pretty much all females. My aunties, my grandmother, they all raised me, and we used to fight over the TV remote. I used to watch cartoons a lot as a kid, and my aunties would come and change the channel to MTV Base. And back then, early 2000s, you'd have Usher, R. Kelly, Trey Songz, all these R&B artists on the TV, and I'd just be soaking up all of their vibes and how they perform and the vocals. And I think that's where I got that love for R&B, if that makes sense. I was obsessed with Justin Timberlake when I was younger. I couldn't sing for the life of me when I was really young, but I thought I would. You have to have some sort of delusion in order to be able to do what you do. So that's R&B. Afrobeats, I'm part Nigerian, part Jamaican, but I would say I'm a Niger boy at heart. And I lived in Nigeria for 2 years. I went to boarding school there as well. And I was, again, surrounded by music. I actually used to drum in church. So in church, I was, again, surrounded by music. And my grandmother, she used to dance and vibe, and during offering, because, as a Christian, we used to do offering in Cellar Church. And just seeing the good energy and the smiles on people's faces, that is where I go to that place whenever I'm making Afrobeats. And I try and make my Afrobeats music positive, uplifting, and to get you dancing. Amapiano, this is a new endeavor. I would say I've only got one Amapiano song, and it's Oyoya, and that song got played on BBC One Extra this year. And that was literally a test. I was like, let me see what I can do, because singing on an Amapiano beat is difficult because Amapiano is more instrumental and there's not much space for you to put vocals in. So I was just putting harmonies and just putting high notes, putting low notes, and just seeing what could come of it, right? And yeah, I still think I'm still kind of dabbling in that genre, but it's definitely one to watch. I think definitely the biggest challenge as a male R&B vocalist is the stigma that gets attached to it. And people like to say R&B is dying. It's not. It's not. There's definitely a audience for it. There's definitely a big audience for it. And in Wales, I wouldn't say there's much of an audience for R&B music. Now, definitely, because there's more alternative R&B artists popping up here and there. But I think one of the main challenges is definitely the stigma. So whenever people meet me, the first thing I hear is, oh, you're actually such a lovely person. You're actually so nice. I thought you were gonna be stuck up and vain and this and that. And I'm like, I understand why you think that because of the persona. Like, Anwar as an R&B artist, as a singer, I'm a different person on stage than I am off the stage. And I think even, you know, people who do acting and whatnot, like they get into their roles. And I get into my role very well when I'm on stage. That's why whenever I perform, I might take my top off and whatnot, and that's part of it. That's all part of the show. So I think kind of shrugging off the stigma, and that's why I'm even doing this Get to Know Me, so people can get to know the real me, not just Anwar, the R&B Afrobeat singer. For those of you who don't know, I've actually left Access now, but I was at Access Creative College in Bristol. And when I first started working there, it was mainly, my role was a vocal coach. So vocal artistry, and then music performance and arts development came kind of afterwards. And in music performance, again, I work with bands. So kids that are coming in with completely different genres of music that I never really would listen to. And I would have to humble myself and really not be so either judgmental or be too objective in my approach. I'd have to really let the kids kind of, you know, teach me essentially. So I think it was great in that respect, where I kind of put myself back on a level and then was able to, you know, soak in so much more in terms of different genres, whether that's drum and bass, whether that's rock, soft rock, prog rock, there's math rock, all these types of genres that I never heard of, and just understanding the nuances and what makes them, it's been fantastic. But then again, all of my students, again, they respect me as well, as much as I respect them. So it's a two-way stream, we're both learning. And I think that's been one of the biggest highlights of, you know, being a lecturer in music performance and vocal artistry in Bristol as well, because Bristol's, you know, it's a hub for music. And the genres, there's so many different genres there, so many, everyone literally you meet around the corner is a musician. Oh yeah, I played in this band. Oh yeah, I played in that local venue. And I think that's what I love about Bristol, is just constant music. So yeah. Yeah, gosh, Afro Love, I released that, oh, I might get this wrong, Fossil, don't shoot me. 2022, I think is when it came out. And it's a fusion, I would say, of R&B and Afrobeats. And I think that was when I first wanted to put my foot down as an Afrobeats artist, because I'd been dabbling and I'd made a lot of tracks, a lot of Afrobeats tracks, but I never actually released them, right? And I think the one track on there that gets everyone moving is Sowo, and the chorus goes Sowo, Owo, Sowo, Owo, and it's like shipping money, sending money back. And I remember when I created that, it was just before COVID, and I finished doing an assignment. I was doing my dissertation, and I remember I was so like down in the dumps. I was like, oh, this dissertation's taking long. I just want to get it completed. And I thought, let me go take a break. Let me go make some music. And the sun was popping. All right, it was quite warm, and I was like, oh, I feel like making some Afro beats. I had energy, right? And I was recording, and I did the chorus first. I just literally did the chorus, so I literally did that, and I left it. I left it for the whole day, and I was up all night recording that track. And the verses is about how the generation that we are raising now, so all the kids, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of depression, and it's just about, you know, being aware of it. I think the awareness, because I think back then, just before COVID again, like that's when I started, you know, dabbling in like teaching, and I was doing like one-to-one lessons here and there, and I really started to notice like how certain people would open up to me, because people just love to open up to me as a person. I don't know why. Maybe I've got to talk to me on my forehead, but yeah, I noticed a lot of, you know, depression, and a lot of people were anxious about, and people think a lot about what's going on and how people perceive them. And I'm like, you know, you should be worried about yourself and who you are, like be confident in yourself kind of thing. And I think just being aware. So that album, that EP itself, I think it was just me making my mark as an Afrobeats artist and putting more awareness around, again, depression, anxiety, and uplifting, I think. Then I've got a track on there called Top Down South, which is more of an R&B track than it is Afrobeats, but again, that has a blend, and it is quite random. I just watched a movie about, it was a rom-com, and in one scene, they're driving, and there's the top down in their car, and they were driving somewhere down south. So that's why I called it Top Down South. Okay, yeah, Afro Fest in Bristol. That is a recurring event. It happens annually, around about the same time each year. And that was the second time I'd been. I actually tried to perform there a couple years ago, but it didn't work, I think, because of the time slots didn't fit in. So it was a long time coming, and I was so eager. And before I went on stage, there was an act that went on before me, and it was a group of dancers, and they wore like African attire. They had drummers, and it was high energy, and I was going on after them, and it was just me on the stage. I was like, whew, I gotta bring the energy, bring the vibes, right? Happy to say I didn't disappoint. It was fantastic. The crowd were great, like especially all the kids at the front. Like I've seen some of the pictures, and some of the kids are just like who is this guy? And you know what I mean? And I could just see them smiling and dancing, and families at the back. My auntie came to watch as well with her kids, and it was just great, like to see everyone collectively there and having a great time, you know? In comparison to Cardiff, I think Bristol's scene the music scene is much bigger. Let's just say that. But in Cardiff, I would say there are a lot of people that I know here, and it's good to see familiar faces. I think performing in Bristol, there was unfamiliar faces, and it was just nice to see people that I didn't know enjoying my music, if that makes sense. Whereas in Cardiff, I know quite a lot of people know my music, so I'm almost expecting them to come and support, and vice versa, I'll go support them. So I think seeing unfamiliar faces, I would say, yeah, the energy is similar, but it's just, yeah, faces. I would say that it's improved a lot since I've been here. So I came to Cardiff in 2016, and I'm not sure if you remember, you've heard of this, but we formed a group called MVE, so Maneuver Via Energy, and it was myself, Dom James, Kai Ham, Reese, Lloyd, and you know, different people in different aspects. So we had photographers, DJs, rappers, singers, and I was the only male R&B singer. And that was pretty much it. That was pretty much the urban music scene within Cardiff. And since then, it's definitely grown. So we got OTID Entertainment, and they're doing bits at the moment, which is great. And you know, I'm seeing a lot of ethnic minorities and black people and Asian people coming together just to support black music, and it's fantastic. And there was a point where, I think it was 2018, 2019, you know, there was quite a lull in terms of black music, and it's just shooting up now. And we've got people like Ife Iwobi, he's smashing it as well, and you know, putting more of a highlight on Cardiff and Wales. And even during COVID, you know, we made a track called We Won't Forget, and that was put on ITV News, and that again highlighted black music and black artists as well. So I think all these small little wins that we've been getting definitely been accumulating and adding up. So that's helped the music scene. I recently released a track called LeLe, and it basically means, it's an action word, it's a doing word. It means to jump, to skip, to hop, to bounce forward, to elevate. right? And like I said before, my music is about positive energy. So that track, I actually recorded it before I recorded Solo, but I just put it in archives. I didn't like it. And then one day I sent a voice note to my manager, Luke Fussell, and I sent him a voice note of this track. I said, oh, I've got this, I found this track that I hadn't recorded. And it was just the chorus once again. Whenever I record, for some reason, I just do the choruses first. And he was like, Anwar, when did you record this? I said, like a year ago. He said, you need to finish it. Drop everything you're doing and finish this track. I was like, all right, cool. So I finished the track now, and you know, it's still to this day is one of my favorite tracks. And we actually recorded a music video to it in Notting Hill Carnival. If you search up LeLe, Anwar Siziba, and you'll find a music video. My whole family's there. It's literally everything I envisioned within a music video, just because not carnival people are there, and they're enjoying themselves, they're dancing, they're eating, you've got DJs, got music playing, the sun's popping, and just seeing, again, the collective of people all having a good time, and my family being there and us just being positive is what that song, again, is about. So yeah, there's a running theme here. Again, being an educator, I think that has run through my family. My mum, she owns a nursery, she owns a contact center, and she's a social worker. And again, I think that's why I've gone down that route of being an educator. And I think fusing that with my music has also helped me to almost be like a role model for those younger musicians who are up and coming. And there are some seriously talented musicians on their way up. Some of them who have moved to Brighton, some of them who've moved to London, but I still keep in contact with them, and they still reach out to me just to get some advice on certain releases, or, you know, whether it's something to do with their vocals or to get gigs, whatever it is, because I've been through it and I'm still going through it myself. Again, I'm still learning. And it's just about being a role model, I would say, yeah. It's between two people, right? And I think these artists are just amazing. It would either be Jasmine Sullivan. I know she's a female, but her voice is fantastic. Her riffs and runs, and the way she utilizes vocal creak is just on point. Or Lucky Day. I'm not sure if you've heard of Lucky Day. He's an R&B singer, and his voice, I think his voice almost sounds like an instrument that we haven't found yet. And whenever he sings, it's almost a mix of huskiness. And yeah, I think those two. I don't know, at the top of a mountain somewhere or somewhere like that. Somewhere serene and calm and relaxing, because I would love to do, and I'm going to do this soon, don't worry, to do like a set where it's mainly focused on my slow, relaxing, chilled music instead of my upbeat, because a lot of my sets lately have been Afrobeats and upbeat, which is great, but I want to do something, I'm going to do something quite chilled and relaxing for those who maybe don't prefer upbeat, loud music, you know? So probably on top of a mountain when it's chilled and it's peaceful at sunset. Okay, maybe not a Welsh dish, but I've got a Welsh snack. It would probably be a Welsh cake. And I've just been obsessed with them ever since I moved there. I didn't know it was a Welsh thing. I just thought it was called a Welsh cake. I mean, it's in the name, obviously, but I toast them. Some of you might hate me for saying this. I cut it in half and I put it in the toaster, so it's a little bit crispy, and then I put some butter on it. Sounds boring, but that's a nice little snack to have. It would probably be that, because when you toast it, it can be quite hard and crispy on the outside, but on the inside it's quite soft. And I think that's a good representation of me as a person. I would like to go with classical music, blended with maybe like some sort of like a Brazilian samba funk kind of style, and to see how that would sound, because they're two completely different vibes. One of them's calming and one of them makes you want to bop and gets your hips moving. It will be interesting to see how they would blend, and I'm sure some DJs out there could probably do that, but probably be those two, yeah. I think there's a cathedral in Wales. I've actually been there before. I recorded a video in lockdown, and it would probably be there because the cathedral itself is beautiful. Inside, the ceramics and the glass plane, lovely, right? Just really, really beautiful. And I think when the light shines through as well, because when we went, it was quite sunny. When the light shines through, it looks quite good. And I think there would be some good shots to be taken there. I don't know, you videographers out there, tell me if I'm right or wrong. But probably, yeah, in that cathedral, I need to remember what the actual name was, but I think it's somewhere, I don't know if it's in Roth, but there's a cathedral